KGF, Kolar Goldfield. Lieutenant John Warren of the British government wrote an article about KGF, saying that its history begins in 1799 when Tipu Sultan was killed by the British in the Battle of Srirangapatna. After a few years, this land was given to the state of Mysore, but the British kept the right to survey the land of Kolar with themselves. According to Warren's account, during the Chola Empire, people dug gold by hand to extract gold. Warren used to lure the villagers to Kolar to dig for gold, but he found very little gold. So later modern technology was used, but it was of no use. On the contrary, many workers lost their lives. Exhausted, the British government stopped the excavations. In 1871, after Lavallee read Warren's article, he decided to excavate it again. In 1873, Lavallee obtained permission to excavate from the Maharaja of Mysore, and in 1875 the excavation started again. But by 1877, the young entrepreneur was unable to scale his business further and was desperate to raise funds. But due to his popularity, support came from another army man, Maj. Gen. Beresford of the Madras Staff Corps in Bangalore. He, along with 3 others, Mackenzie, Sir William, and Col. William Arbuthnot, formed a syndicate with several other army officers called the Kolar Concessionaries Company Limited, which took over the mining operations. Mining engineers were invited from across the world to dig shafts in Kolar to further the explorations. But things changed when the syndicate, under pressure from their investors, approached John Taylor and Sons, a company which brought state-of-the-art mining engineering to India. The arrival of these engineers from Norwich, England started the golden era of KGF. As operations in the KGF surged ahead, the British planned Asia's second and India's first power plant in Kolar. Officers of the Royal Engineers approached the Mysore Maharaja with a proposal to build a hydroelectric plant in the Kaveri River. In 1900, Central Electric Company from New York and Eicher Weiss from Switzerland were given the task of establishing the power plant and 148 kilometers of transmission lines, the longest in the world. Machinery imported from Britain, America, and Germany were transported in carts pulled by elephants and horses. Soon, the candles and kerosene lamps in KGF were replaced by bulbs, even before Bangalore or Mysore were electrified. In 1902, 95% of the gold was mined with the help of technology. The mine employed 30,000 workers. Lavallee's experiment was successful, and vast amounts of gold began to be extracted from the mines. As the gold reserves in KGF began to reduce, expatriates began to leave Kolar. However, key positions were held by the English until independence. When the central government decided to take over all the mines in 1956, ownership of most of the mines had already been handed over to the state government. The mines that produced 95% of India's gold output were nationalized to keep them from shutting down. However, in 2001, despite massive protests, Kolar goldfields were shut down. The abandoned underground tunnels, once pathways of gold, are now flooded with groundwater. Despite government plans and multiple court orders, the resurrection of the KGF seems far-fetched. Thus, even though KGF continues to bear gold in its belly, the cost of retrieving it would be greater than the value of the gold itself.